Artist, inventor, engineer, and scientist. No human being has ever produced such a prolific body of work in such numerous and diverse fields of study that he is called the universal genius. His groundbreaking discoveries and inventions were centuries ahead of his time. Let us take a look at the brilliant mind of Leonardo da Vinci, tracing his life and studying his works that paved the way for the knowledge and technology we have today. Istanbul, Turkey. This historic city, straddling both Europe and Asia, was once called Constantinople. It was the seat of Roman glory and the center of Christianity along with Rome. But on Pentecost Sunday in 1453, in an event that would forever change world history, Constantinople was sacked and fell under the hands of the Ottoman Empire. For the Western world, it was the end of civilization itself. But the fall of this mighty empire was to be the beginning of a rebirth. To the west, an age of enlightenment was brewing in the city-states of Italy. The Renaissance marked the end of the Dark Ages. From a religion-centered worldview, humanism gained traction. It celebrated human achievement and opened new explorations in science and technology. Around this time, in a small rural town in Tuscany, one of the world's greatest minds was born.
This is the town of Vinci, where the polymath Leonardo da Vinci was born. Let's take a closer look at his life and the legacy that he left behind.
In the outskirts of Vinci is the village of Anciano. This house is considered his birthplace and where he spent his early childhood. Born out of wedlock to a wealthy legal notary, Piero da Vinci, and Caterina, a peasant woman, Leonardo's illegitimate status would later prove to be a hindrance to his educational prospects. Today, Vinci celebrates Leonardo as a hero. But what makes a genius? What was in Leonardo's hometown that helped develop his insatiable curiosity, his brilliant mind, and multiple talents? Given his social status, Leonardo was unable to obtain a formal education. Most of his skills are self-taught. But he was gifted with an inquisitive mind that he pondered the mysteries of the world with such intensity. Surrounded by ancient landscapes, nature became his teacher. He sketched plants, flowers and animals, and studied the movement of water. Researchers have recovered 13,000 pages of his sketches and writings detailing his unquenchable thirst for knowledge. He was also obsessed with the workings of nature's most magnificent invention, the human body. At the Museo Leonardiano in Vinci, we see 3D models of his anatomical sketches, and one can marvel at how accurately he portrayed them. He would dissect corpses, to closely study the skeletal and muscular structure. He was a pioneer in mapping the human body, giving an astonishingly accurate observation of how the human heart works 500 years earlier than MRI technology. Unfortunately, his observations were not published during his lifetime, as his notebooks were only discovered 250 years after his death. But his anatomical research aided him greatly in one of his most enduring legacies, his works of art. Here in Vinci, one can visit an exhibition that showcases all his masterpieces. His first big break was painting the baptism of Christ alongside his master. Reportedly, Leonardo painted so much better than his master that Verrocchio vowed never to paint again. Da Vinci approached art as a science, and science as art. His studies of nature, motion, shadow, and light allowed him to paint with such realism. Looking closely at the Mona Lisa, you will see a softly modeled face with no strong outlines. Da Vinci's sfumato technique is a subtle blending of edges that result in a realistic image. But not only was he able to capture realism, he also had a unique talent of conveying human emotion and human character in his work. For any artist, this is the highest ideal, to be able to draw images that mirror the soul. And no one came close to achieving this as Leonardo da Vinci. Up next, we continue to delve deeper into the mind of a genius, learning both his scientific methods and his groundbreaking inventions that changed the world. Aside from art and anatomy, Leonardo da Vinci also devoted in-depth studies to the operation of machines, devising all kinds of instruments that can perform complex tasks. At the age of 30, he surprised his peers by moving from Florence to Milan. Less of an artistic center and more of a political one, Milan presented different opportunities for his restless mind. Here, he began to work for Milan's ruler, Ludovico Sforza. Da Vinci's skill as an engineer and inventor came front and center as he designed numerous defensive structures and weapons of war. Here, he drew catapults, cannons, and crossbows. His designs were visionary, if not prophetic. He drew up plans for a covered chariot, taking inspiration from a tortoise shell. It carried cannons in a circular platform with wheels that allowed movement in any direction. It will take 400 years before the concept became reality in the modern tanks used in World War I. For many of us today, flying is so commonplace that we forget it was once a threshold. For Leonardo da Vinci, it was his one great obsession. He dedicated many years to solving the mystery of flight.
He was crazy about flying. Thought about mechanical wings that were flapping, aerial screw that goes up, sphere. It's a flying sphere. Spent a lot of time studying the bird's movement and everything until he tried working on an item that will let somebody fly.
He was so certain that man is destined to conquer the skies. He said in his writings, "There shall be wings. If the accomplishment is not for me, then it will be for another." Though he never realized his dream of flight, his works are recognized as the common heritage of flying machines centuries after his death. In fact, a Russian boy named Igor Sikorsky studied Leonardo's sketches and went on to make the first successful helicopter in history by 1940.
And my flying today all started from here.
While in Milan, Ludovico Sforza also commissioned Da Vinci to do art-related projects.
This is Santa Maria della Grazie, where the only hanging painting of Leonardo da Vinci can be found.
Constructed by master architects during the Renaissance, the church complex is now listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The church's incredible Gothic and Renaissance architecture has survived 2 world wars, and so has Da Vinci's masterpiece found inside. The Last Supper has remained in its original position since it was painted directly on the refectory walls. It captured the exact moment immediately after Jesus said to the apostles, "One of you will betray me." As one of the world's most widely reproduced paintings, we tend to overlook its true genius. Its layout is an optical illusion, making it appear that the dining room is an extension of the refectory walls. Far from being a frozen moment, there is fluidity in the apostles' reaction to Jesus' announcement. Their varying postures and expressions give the painting tension and emotion never before captured in Renaissance art. Unfortunately, the painting is in a fragile state as Da Vinci experimented with the pigments, resulting in poorly adhering paints. But The Last Supper continues to be one of the world's most important masterpieces. Just across the street from the Santa Maria della Grazie Church is a little-known haven for the artist.
While painting The Last Supper, Da Vinci, after a hard day's work, would rest across the street in a small vineyard that was given by the Duke of Milan.
The Casa degli Atellani was a 15th century Renaissance palazzo where Da Vinci reportedly stayed. Its frescoed halls were famous for its lavish parties, bringing together the most powerful people in Milan. Images of the Sforza family can still be seen in the ceiling. The main house opens up to a lush garden. Here, you will find Da Vinci's vineyard, planted with the same species of Malvasia grapes that he used to grow in the 15th century. Growing up from the Tuscan countryside, Leonardo would have been accustomed to winemaking and would have enjoyed tending to his vines in his free time. Even geniuses could use a little break. Up next, I fast forward through time to the city of Bologna, where I find Da Vinci's enduring legacy in the genius of Italian design and technology. A series of political events drove Da Vinci from Milan to Rome, and finally to France, where he was invited by the king to be a resident artist and engineer. Leonardo would spend his last years there, leaving Italy behind forever. One of the last few cities he visited was Bologna. Here in Emilia-Romagna, staying at the Palazzo Filicini in the historic city center. Bologna is known for its well-preserved towers, churches, and palazzos, as well as its lengthy porticos. Since the Middle Ages, these covered walkways have been used to protect people from the elements. The city has almost 40 kilometers of these elegantly decorated architectural gems. Another thing Bologna is known for is the food. Walking around the old part of the city, I was drawn to its ancient food market.
One interesting place to visit here in Bologna is the Quadrilatero. Shops of all kinds have existed here since the Middle Ages.
In the city's oldest market, you will find artisan shops, local produce, fresh seafood, and the specialties of the region.
Good pasta and Parmigiano.
By evening time, the streets are packed with people sitting down for a nice meal.
And of course, there's the tradition of the aperitivo, a meal taken between 7 to 9 p.m. when after a long day, people can just relax and enjoy good food and good wine.
The city is nicknamed La Grassa, or the Fat One, for its rich and decadent cuisine. Fresh pasta with ragu or meat sauce with an assortment of cured meats and cheese. At the rate I'm going, I think the nickname will start to fit me as well. Not only is Emilia-Romagna a historic and gastronomic center, it is also home to many big names in the motor industry. This calls to mind two of Da Vinci's mechanical inventions that were centuries ahead of their time. One is a robotic knight that could sit, stand, and raise its visor independently using a system of pulleys and cables. Another visionary invention is that of a self-propelled cart, the very first programmable vehicle featuring a balance wheel and a mechanism similar to a differential. In the outskirts of Bologna, I found myself in San Agata Bolognese, where the supercar was invented, Automobil Lamborghini. It was founded in 1963 by a farmer-turned-tractor manufacturer, Ferruccio Lamborghini, whose dream was to build the perfect car. From its humble beginnings, the company has become one of the world's leading car brands, known for its high-performance engines, superior drive, and visionary designs. In fact, Lamborghini doesn't just make supercars, they invented them. Today, I get a chance to peek inside a secretive facility where dreams are made, the Lamborghini factory.
I visited airplane and helicopter manufacturing companies, but this is the first time I get a chance to see how supercars are made.
My first stop was the Aventador assembly line.
4 to 5 Aventadors are finished every single day. They have a timer up there, and every 100 minutes, it has to move one step in the assembly line. Interesting how they cover everything to protect the paint from being scratched while they're assembling the other parts.
First, they do the central cabling before it goes under the rotisserie.
Over here, they can turn the vehicle around to make it easier for them to access the bottom, tighten the screws properly, and make sure everything works.
There is one very special moment to witness in the production process.
And this is one of the most important process. They call this the marriage, putting the engine, the transmission, and the differential together.
After this blessed union, they can fit in the rest of the parts like lights, oil tanks, seats, and steering wheel. It's also nice to see all the different custom colors and configurations being ordered for production.
Well, they've finally put on the wheels. Beginning to look like a real car now.
Then all the fluids are added in the engine, bringing it to life. And that is how a supercar is born.
This is one of the last quality assurance check. If you notice, there are bright white lights again. And I think the guys working here are one of the most meticulous people here in the factory.
Quality checks are passed. This one is ready to move down the line.
Another Aventador ready for delivery. Surely a lucky and happy customer.
Meanwhile, I made my way to the saddlery.
Here, we get to choose the color of the leather that we want in our car. It's just like finishing an airplane.
The height is first marked for imperfections before the computer calculates the best way to cut around them with very minimal wastage. Until you see it firsthand, you won't be able to appreciate all the work that goes into every tiny detail of these incredible machines. The customization is endless. You can make your design as personal as you want. I don't think two supercars can ever come out of here alike. As if I haven't seen enough, I was taken to the factory's newest addition.
And now, I get a chance to visit the assembly line of the first super SUV, Urus.
An SUV may be a curious addition to Lamborghini's latest line of supercars. But the Urus is not your average daily driver. There is a lot of new technology and innovative design that went onto this super SUV.
And look at that brakes. It's the biggest ceramic brake in a production car. It's a ventilated disc as well. It's bigger than an airplane. The Urus line is more automated compared to the Aventador. If you can see, they have robots underneath and they just move from one step to the other.
Robots move and deliver parts around the facility, scanning the floor for colored lines and follow the path they are programmed to take. Signore Da Vinci would be so proud. With the help of robotics, the whole powertrain gets married to the body of the car with ease and precision.
Well, they're trying to put the whole panel inside the car now, and it's really mechanized. This is interesting how they do this, huh?
It's a great opportunity to be shown around this incredible facility. Aside from the advanced technology, it's all about the people who put their hearts into their work. They are all highly trained and highly motivated individuals who are specialists in their field. Part science lab, part machine shop, and artisan workshop. The Lamborghini factory would be a paradise for Leonardo da Vinci's incredible mind. The Urus certainly looks like a full-blooded Lamborghini, with its sharp edges and sleek angles. The interior is spacious and can easily sit 5 people, with a large and practical storage space in the trunk. The 3-screen central console is like a cockpit, with all the controls and information at your fingertips. Of course, it comes with a beautiful Italian leather seats, but how does it fare on the road?
And guess who gets to drive the Urus? Nice to feel the power.
The 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8 engine rumbled and roared to life. With 650 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque, you can use as you please.
The Urus is something very special. It is the most powerful SUV. 0 to 100 is 3.6 seconds. If only there were no speed limits, I can really enjoy myself. And the steering is very nice. It's four-wheel steering, so whichever curve I make, I'm still right on the spot where I want to be.
It has amazing handling in tight turns for a 4,800-pound SUV with active roll stability control in place. I'm sure the roads of Santa Agata are used to speeding supercars. But I didn't want to get another ticket, so I decided to test this car off-road. Speeding through the bumpy farm roads felt like flying. The thunderous rumble of the Urus transported me back to the cockpit of the F5. Back when I did a Mac Bust. You can hardly feel the speed, but the sound is there. After the adrenaline rush, I also tried how the Urus felt like for daily driving. It had advanced driving assistance like adaptive cruise control and lane keeping assist, making for a pleasant drive.
Nice to drive along the small towns here in Italy with this car. This is so much fun playing around with this car.
With its luxury features, advanced tech and practicality, the Urus certainly sets the bar for these new type of SUVs.
Well, it was a great drive. Unfortunately, I have to return the car.
Walking in the footsteps of Leonardo da Vinci sets one on an incredible journey through history. 500 years since his death, his legacy lives on as he tested the limits of human creativity, ambition, and the human mind. It leads us to think whether we are living our own lives with such purpose and significance as he did. He was a man from a distant past who was able to design and even predict the future. It is as if his pioneering ideas have lingered in our collective consciousness, developing leaps and bounds in the generations that followed, to be a testament of pure Italian genius.
This has been your captain, Joy Roa. See you in the next Asian Air Safari.